Good. Okay. Well, thank you, Danielle. I hope that we will have this webinar about like 30 minutes, and then indeed afterwards there is some time for Q&A. I will discuss a little bit more about the market, about regulations and standards for the EU, and yeah, some things that you have to think of when you want to start exporting, some questions you have to ask yourself. So I hope that this webinar will helpful for you. If you have questions after the webinar, please know that you can always reach out to us and ask your questions about the European market. The introduction, well, Danielle already did a brief introduction. Thank you for that. So the company that I work for is FAF Export Marketing, and I work for FAF for almost 6 years now. And when I started working here, I also started working on the SUSTA activities. Yeah, a lot of the companies I already met during SUSTA events like trade shows, trade missions, or the seminars that SUSTA organized, or you might have seen me on the screen like this in the webinar. The company was started in 1991, and we are SUSTA's European in-market consultants since 2006. And we are located in the Netherlands, and we cover the full European market. But as the Netherlands is seen as the gateway to Europe, we are proud to be based in the Netherlands. So yeah, two other colleagues of mine that you might have seen are Roseanne and Victor. Victor is still working at FAF as an advisor, and Inge is yeah, quite new to the SUSTA team. We are glad to have her on the working on the SUSTA activities as well. So this will be a face that you will be seeing more often. Enough about us. I think that's maybe not that interesting for you. So let's move on to the more interesting stuff. First, a brief market overview. So yeah, in this webinar, I talk about European Union the most. Some things apply to the UK as well, and the UK is still a really interesting market for you as an exporter. So definitely a market to take into account when you create your export marketing strategy. Combined, the EU and the UK have around 500 million rich consumers. The EU is one single market, and this means that almost all products and services and people can travel freely between all countries within the EU without any extra paperwork, any extra documents, or checks at the borders. So once your product is in, you can re-export it to all other countries as well. So it's one single market, but you cannot see it as one. You cannot see the EU and Europe as one country. All countries are different with differences in habits, behaviors, preferences. On top of the EU regulations, there might be some national regulations as well that you have to take into account. So when you prepare your export market strategy, focus on one country first, maximum two, and then step by step go to the next country. So for the EU specialty food market, this is expected to grow in the next years. And yeah, driven by increasing demands for high quality products, innovative products, and health-oriented products. And I mentioned we are located in the Netherlands, and I placed a pin for you so that you know where we are at this moment. So some key consumer preferences and demands. Yeah, those are mainly driven by these topics, these 4 topics. So the first one is the health conscious trend. So there's a strong demand for organic and minimally processed foods. The European consumers, they prioritize ethically sourced and eco-friendly products. There is a growing interest in unique and authentic flavors, and there's a rise of e-commerce, of course, and same as in the US probably, and home delivery services. So this requires companies like supermarkets to optimize their logistics and digital platforms to meet the consumer demands. So which product categories are popular then? Well, these are organic products, innovative specialty ingredients, and plant-based products. So there's a rising demand for organic products, and consumers are interested in organic and natural foods. So if you have a product that meets this demand, there is an opportunity for your product in the market. If your product is organic certified by USDA, you can get it. Probably, I'm not saying you can get it, but you can get it most of the times certified for Europe as well. So the next one is the specialty ingredients, and mainly unique specialty ingredients. And this is linked to the trend that I discussed in the slide before of culinary innovation. The consumers are looking for products that that they can use for their cooking and to make other or dishes out of other cuisines. And other specialty ingredients that are popular are plant-based proteins, fermented foods, and functional foods. So the rapid growth of plant-based products, this reflects a shift in consumer preferences toward the healthier and ethical choices. So the value-added food market is increasingly focused on consumer experiences and improving these experiences. One example of this is interactive and immersive marketing strategies that they use. For example, virtual tastings, personalized product recommendations. I've added a screenshot here of an app from Jumbo Supermarkets, which is one of the largest supermarkets here in the Netherlands. And this is my personalized, the recommendations that they have for me. So I thought that's it. Nice to add for you to see. So one of the most important things when you want to export to the EU is that you meet the EU food safety regulations and standards. So I will discuss now some points that you have to take into account. So compliance with EU food safety regulations and standards is essential for you because of several factors. The first one is market access. So the EU has strict food safety standards, and only compliant products can enter the market. So meeting these standards ensures that your products can be sold in the EU. The second one is consumer trust. So EU consumers, they value high safety and quality in food. Complying with EU standards, this helps to build trust in your brand and in your products, and this is crucial for long-term success in the markets. And you want to avoid delays and penalties, of course. Non-compliance can lead to products that are being held at customs. Yeah, maybe they are sent back, or sometimes they are even destroyed. So you want to avoid this, of course. This causes delays. This increases costs, and yeah, you have the risk of getting a fine or penalty. So yeah, this can hurt your business reputation and profitability, of course. So EU regulations on food safety, they are legally binding, and they cover aspects like labeling, ingredients that are used. Some ingredients that you use in your products are not allowed in the EU. Yeah, and compliance is mandatory, and failure to meet these regulations can result in bans and legal issues. So that's why I wanted to highlight some of it, to make you aware of this and to make sure, yeah, you know about it, and you read about it, and to make sure your products are ready for the market. So following the EU food standards, this helps maintain high quality, which can enhance your reputation in other markets as well. So in short, compliance protects both you, your business, and the consumers. So that's what the EU want to achieve with these high standards and regulations. So yeah, exporting your products from the US to the EU requires some documentation and regulatory standards. Some mandatory documents are the commercial invoice, the packing list, bill of lading, or the airway bill, certificate of origin, an import declaration needs to be done, and you need to ensure that your product, yeah, that the label on your products meet the EU requirements, including nutritional information, an ingredients list, allergen declarations, language specifications, and detailed guidelines for this are available on the European Commission's website. I have included a link to this slide as well. This goes directly to the food labeling requirements, but you can find the information about documents that you need here as well. So the commercial invoice, this details the transaction between the exporter, so you, and the importer, including a product description, the quantity, and the value of the products. The packing list provides information on the contents of each package. Yeah, this is needed to facilitate customs inspection. The bill of lading, or the airway bill, in case of yeah, shipping your products by plane, or not shipping in this case, of course. This document serves as a contract between you and the carrier, outlining the terms of transport. And the certificate of origin, this includes the country where the goods were produced. And this document is not always mandatory, but it can yeah, help you to determine the tariff rates. And then we have the import declaration, of course. This can be submitted by the importer to EU customs authorities, and this declares the goods and provides necessary details needed for custom clearance. So for some product categories, additional documents are required, like animal origin products, plant origin products, and organic products. So for example, the animal origin products like dairy and meat. Also, if only one of the ingredients is of animal origin, using like a milk product in your products, or honey, for example, then you need a health certificate, and this is issued by the US. certifying that your product meets. Oh, light is turning off here. Sorry. I have to walk around a bit more, I guess. So the health certificate is issued by the US, and on this document, it states that your product meets the EU health standards. The veterinary certificate, this is required also for products of animal origin, and it confirms compliance with EU veterinary regulations. For plant-based products like fruits and vegetables, you need a phytosanitary certificate. This certificate states that the products are free from pests and diseases as per the EU regulations. And the organic certificate, this proves that your product complies with EU organic farming standards. If you would like to know which documents you need for your product when you want to export to the EU, I'm willing to help you finding out this, of course. So if you want to want to receive some more information about which documents you need, please feel free to share your HS code, and the HS code is the Harmonized System Code. This is a number used for worldwide trade to identify your products in the international trade. And this code helps customs to know what is being imported or exported, and it makes the process and taxing products makes this process easier. But also based on your HS code, I can check or help you to check to figure out which documents you need. So please feel free to share your HS code, and we can stay in touch after this webinar. And we also advise to consult with the EU importer if you work with them, or if you already found an EU importer for the market that you would like to focus on. As he or she can help you with advice about the documents that you need as well, or custom brokers or legal experts that are specialized in EU food regulations to ensure full compliance with all requirements. Then the labeling. I said already earlier that if you want to export your products, you need to change your label to comply with EU regulations. Some examples of the things that you need to take into account are that we are 100% metric. We have everything mentioned in grams, liters. Your product needs to be adjusted, or your label needs to be adjusted to this as well. We, for example, work with Celsius as well instead of Fahrenheit. So if you, we don't know we cannot do the calculation without using Google. So the information needs to be added in the official language of a country that you want to export, that you are exporting to. So as I said, there are 27 different countries in the EU, and they all have their own languages. So if you want to export to Europe at once, you need to add all the languages. So you can imagine that this is simply not possible. And we add the nutritional information per 100 grams. And you can add the information per portion as well, but per 100 grams is mandatory for all products, or milliliters in this case. The information in a product needs to be added on the label as well, starting with the main ingredient and ending with the ingredient that is added the least. I've added 2 examples here where they use stickers to change their label. You can work with stickers. However, for food retail, it doesn't look that attractive. So it depends on your product and where the products are sold, if using a sticker is sufficient, yes or no. For food service, for example, it doesn't matter that much. It's all about the ingredients in this case, or the product, and yeah, not about the packaging. So for food service, it's easier to adjust your label sometimes than for food retail. So yeah, and using a sticker is of course more price effective. And some importers are willing to help you as a US exporter with changing your label as well. And correct me later if I'm wrong, Danielle, but I believe that you can use the SUSTA cost share program as well to change your packaging and labels for foreign markets as well.
Yes, indeed.
So please make use of it. So these two examples, one on the left for the Dutch market and on the right for the Spanish market, using the stickers. So in the last slides, I talked about the EU in general, but it's important to mention again that most, but not all, food legislation is harmonized at the EU level, and imported product must meet existing member states requirements as well, in case if they have national regulations on top of the EU regulations. And some advice that I would like to give you is to check the FAIR's country reports. These are provided by USDA on their website. And these reports includes or provide you with an overview of EU food and feed legislation that is currently in force. There's one general version covering the EU as a whole, and for each country you can find a report that includes additional information on a national level. So I'm preparing a presentation for the seminar that we will give together with SUSTA and all the other consultants in December in Clearwater, Florida. And one of the questions that we got from Danielle, what do importers say about the SUSTA companies, and which advice do they give? So I thought this is nice to add, because we just talked about the regulations and how important it is. And yesterday she sent me this importer, and I thought, it really is important, and I cannot mention it enough. So I thought it's good to add her quotes to this presentation as well. So what she said is SUSTA companies should the most important aspect for us is compliance and preparation for the export process. So compliance. The only negative experiences, very few, luckily, we have had were because a company insisted that they were EU compliant and had the required documentation to clear customs, and this was not the case, resulting in losses for us. So they had to destroy this whole order because the company told her that the product was EU compliant, but as soon as it entered Spain, this was not the case. So everything was destroyed, and you want to avoid this, of course, at all times. So please make sure you meet the EU regulations. And it sounds like very difficult to get the documents, but it is not that difficult. So you only need to investigate it a lot, put some efforts in it, put some time in it, maybe put some money in it. So that brings me to the next topics, which is creating your strategy for successful market entry. And there are some questions that you have to ask yourself. So yeah, some questions are before you want to start to export, and I saw some of you that registered are already exporting. So for you, this question might not be that relevant. But yeah, do you have the time to export? Do you have the financial capacity to export? Because you need to invest some time and some money in it. What is the potential in the USA? Is there still a lot of potential in the USA? And do you want to focus on the USA first before you export your products to Europe? Is there still some market growth that you want to reach there, or are you ready to export to Europe? Do you have the capacity to produce enough products? You go to a trade show, you meet a lot of European buyers, they want to import your products. But do you have enough products, or do you have the capacity to produce more products? Those are all questions that you have to ask yourself. And is there an opportunity for you for your product in the market? Because there needs to be market demand, of course, as well. So some questions. Um, and again, Europe is not one country. So for each country, you need to work with a different importer. Or maybe importer in the Netherlands is covering Belgium as well, or the Spanish importer is covering Portugal as well. But the Spanish importer is probably not covering France. So you need to do some homework and figure out to which country you would like to export. And focus is really important here. So if you decided to export to Italy, go to Italy first. And as soon as your products are there and you have your network and your buyers in that market and your products are available in the supermarkets, you can go to the next country. So focus is important and focus on one country, maximum two countries at first. So when you did your homework and you decided on the country that you would like to export to, there are some more questions that you have to ask yourself. For example, do I want to export directly or with an importer? So directly is mainly only possible if you are a bigger company, and still then the retailer often says, talk to my importer, work with the importer that I use and get the products via the importer to me, because he doesn't want to deal with the importing process. So for most of you, we'll be working with an importer and find a reliable importer that you would like to work with. Also the importers, they have a network. They have local expertise. They know the market. They can provide logistical support and insights into consumer behaviors. This can help you with effective market penetration strategies. So we do have a mature market here in Europe, and this market is known for its direct supply chain between you, the producer, and the retailer. So we don't use middlemen like brokers, agents, and distributors. The importer is taking care of the distribution as well. The European buyer, he or she wants to look you as the exporter directly in the eyes and without communicating with extra parties. So only if the product is big enough and the producer is big enough, direct exports or imports from this side is an option. Sometimes you need to adjust or adapt your products for European tastes and the regulations, of course. So maybe you can adapt it to regional flavors that are popular. adjusted to the health and wellness preferences that are here, and also implementing eco-friendly packaging that not only meets the standards here in Europe, so the regulations, but also because the consumers want to have the more sustainable options. So these are all things that you can do to make to have a better chance of success here in Europe. So also good to investigate that. I don't want to talk that long anymore because we're already talking for half an hour. When you prepare your entry strategy, it's also important to think about the pricing strategy. And important here is to always think about the US dollar versus the euro rate. You can sell your products in dollars, but the price that European buyers pays for your bottles can fluctuate because of the rates and the currencies, different currencies. So I have a quick example here, selling barbecue sauces, $5 per bottle ex works. Good to know is that the importer takes about 15%, 15%, and the retailer about 30 to 35. VAT differs country to country. In this example, we took the average of 15%, 15. And you can see that the price that the consumer pays, including VAT and all import duties, etc., is roughly doubled. So that's something to take into account. Also, when you are here in Europe, go to a retail store, see which products are already available on the market, for which price. Can I compete with this price, yes or no? So some homework that you need to do when you prepare your export strategy is check the import duties for your products to the market that you would like to export to. Create an entry strategy, of course. Exclusivity. Do you want to work with a retailer exclusive for all Europe? Maybe he says, okay, I will get your products in all Europe, but you need to give me the exclusivity. Do you want to do that? Yes or no? Or do you want to work with more importers? Are you open for private label? What are the terms of payment you would like to use? The terms of delivery. In terms of delivery, maybe is a topic that you don't know a lot about. Please let us know, because then we can discuss this later as well. Do you want to focus on food service or food retail? Can I change my label, and what do I need to change? Prepare brochures, business cards, and samples. And in the brochures, think about that we use metric sizes here, so you can adjust your brochure to the metric sizes. Are there any adjustments you need to make to comply with the EU regulations and standards? So these are all questions that you have to ask yourself before you export your products. And of course, as I said, Systa has some resources for this as well. So one of this is the virtual consultations. Throughout the whole year, you can register for one of the virtual consultations. Just go to the Systa website, and Daniel will show you later where you can find this. You can register for a online meeting with us. You send your topics that you would like to discuss, your questions, the market that you would like to focus on. And during a meeting, we will discuss the market and your questions. And after that, there are always follow-up activities. So based on your questions, the market, we can decide if we need to schedule a new one, or you can come back to us with new questions. We have a lot of Systa activities for the European market, and one of them that I would like to highlight is the Systa Pavilion at IFE London. IFE London is the International Food and Drink event, and for the I wanted to say for the third time, but we have done this in 2011 and 2013 as well, I believe, having a Susta pavilion at IFE London. It's a great show because it's a really focused and really targeted show. So if you want to export your products to the UK, if you're interested in the UK, IFE London is a good show. The show attracts around 30,000 visitors from 105 countries, but mainly UK. It takes place in March next year, and we have some booths still available, of which one corner booth and several inline booths. I've added prices here, and for this price, which is a really small fee to participate, you will get a 9 square meter booth and a standard furniture package, including a back wall graphic, a logo on your info desk, a table, chairs, and the deadline for registration is December the 17th. So if you have any questions about this show or participating with Susta at this show, please feel free to reach out to us because we are happy and we would love to give you some more information about this show. Then again, if there are any questions, just let me know. I believe I saw a question coming in, so let's check that as well. And I will share this presentation with Danielle as well, so that you, she will probably forward it to you, I assume. So are there any questions?
Thank you, Anouk. Sorry, I was on mute. That was great. Since you were just on the IFE slide, before we jump into the Q&A, because I think there are a couple of questions, but I just wanted to pull up our website real quick. Right, so I'm on the SESTA homepage and just wanted to show everybody, in case you're unfamiliar with SESTA's website, if you click on our events tab up here, you will see all of our upcoming events that are open for registration. And this International Food and Drink Event London is the one that Anouk was just talking about. So you just click here. It's all the information about the show and the fees and what's included in the fees, the deadline. And then to register, you just click here. Anouk and I were actually talking before the webinar started about this show and how it's a good fit for companies. I mean, for I think a variety of companies, but if you are someone who hasn't done some of the major, really big trade shows in Europe that attract, buyers and an audience from kind of around the world, this is maybe a little bit of a smaller one compared to like a CL Paris or a Nuga. And it's, I think, a little more focused on the UK. Is that correct, Anouk?
Yes. So, I cannot mention this enough, but focus is really important. And if you decided to export to the UK, then this show is a really good match for you.
And like maybe more manageable than some of the, massive trade shows. So just something to keep in mind when looking at this one. And I also wanted to show you, so if you click on the Export Education tab, which is where our webinars live, you'll also see the Foreign Consultant Seminar. So Anouk mentioned earlier about the seminar that they are going to participate with SESTA, and that is December 9th in Florida. So in addition to the FAF export market group coming into the US, all of SESTA's consultants from around the world are traveling here to the States for an annual meeting. It's an internal meeting where we're discussing our strategies and plans for the coming years. But we ask them to come in one day early to participate in a seminar, and we open that up to all of our SESTA participants. So all of our companies can come and meet all of our consultants, which that list has really grown. We used to just have 5 or 6 markets covered, but now you'll see we cover quite pretty much the whole world. No, but Africa, Canada, Central America, and the Caribbean, China and Hong Kong, Europe, India, Mexico, and South America. So if you are available on December 9th to come to Clearwater, Florida, we would love to host you there. And then you could hear from all of our consultants in person and meet with them individually. It's a great event. So just wanted to throw that out there. And then one more thing that I wanted to show. Just go back into export education. Yes. If you wanted to meet with the FAF team on Zoom at some point, you can always click here and register for a virtual consultation. These are 30-minute calls that you would arrange with FAF on Zoom or Teams. They're free, and it's a good way to get some individual answers to any questions you have. So that is also in the Export Education tab. Just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, and I saw a question coming in. Is there a list of all the major retailers in Europe that includes their store count? Well, I have a list of all the retailers, so we can share that with you. Maybe you can send me your email address or send me an email, and then I can share it with you. This list also includes a link to their websites, and it's good to know that on all websites or almost all retailers now have their assortments online. So without traveling to Europe, you can check which products are available in the stores, what products are my competitors, for which prices do they sell the products, which flavors are available on the market. Can I add something there, or can I adapt my product to the flavors that are popular? And sometimes you can even see which importer is importing this product on the on their websites. So this gives you a lot of information, and the prices that you see here are the prices that you pay. So with VAT already included. Another question is the UK using the same regulations as the EU? Well, yes, they are still following the EU, but they have their own regulations on top of this as well. So, they're not using all EU regulations, but they are following it as well.
Okay, I know. Any other questions? I don't see anything else coming in. Just checking the chat. Yeah, okay. Well, Anouk, that was a great overview of the market, and nice to hear about some of the individual events that are coming up next year as well. And as Anouk mentioned, oh wait, there is something else that just came through. Are there any fees that the retailers charge to get products into their warehouse?
Fees like for logistics or for the products, because they pay your products, of course, and then we have the import duties and shipping fees. So
Stephen, I'm gonna go ahead and unmute you. If you, or maybe you could unmute yourself now.
Hey, how are you?
Hi.
Good to see you again, Anouk. We've saw you at Sea Owl this year.
Hi, good to hear from you, not see
Yes.
you.
I had a question just in regards to, in the United States, when you go to sell in an item, a lot of retailers charge slotting fees and fees, basically upfront fees, just for space within their warehouse. We've tried to partner with another company that's based in Europe to try to get some business over there, unsuccessfully to date. But I've been trying to understand what the landscape looks like in terms of like, are there other fees that we just need to be concerned with when we bring a product to a country in the Europe in terms of like a slotting fee? So like before it even gets on the shelf in the United States, you have to basically pay like an entry fee, not a country entry fee, but just like a flat amount of money to a retailer to get an item into their warehouse. And then they call it a slotting fee for quote unquote getting a slot into their warehouse,
No,
or even if it's not in the
it's
warehouse through a distributor,
not
they
that I am aware of. So
okay.
the retailer really needs to believe in your product and believe that yeah, this can be sold. Um, the market is a really mature market, so a lot of products are already available. So it might be difficult to get a spot in the stores, but only if they really believe in your product, they are willing to remove one of the products to make space for your products.
Yeah, and if you can imagine, that's kind of how slotting started, right? A company came in and said, if you take this product out, I'll pay you X amount of money, and then it became like the way of the world where everyone had to pay that moving forward to get it in. So if there isn't, doesn't sound like there's anything like that in
No,
Europe.
not that I'm aware of. No,
Okay.
no. Unless you want to do a promotion, of course, in the retail store. Yeah, marketing activities there, they ask a budget for you. Yep.
Thank you.
And I hope that Seal was a good show for you.
Yeah, it was good. We just got to get some business out of it.
Good. Yeah, follow up. That's most important
That's
and
right.
most forgotten parts about the trade show as well. Okay, good. I don't think we have any other questions.
Yeah. Um, okay, I am going to go ahead. I'll send everybody an email later today with the link to the recording as well as Anook's presentation. So keep an eye out for that and then be in touch with any questions. We look forward to working with you and hopefully seeing your products in Europe soon.
Yes, I hope so as well.
And something funny, just a little anecdote. I was at the grocery last night and I noticed there were two like kiosks and one was all German products and the other one was all French products. And I took a picture because I'm always obviously thinking about all of this and it's, the money and the effort that Sesta and all of you are putting into getting our products into other countries, they're doing the same thing in our country. So, if you aren't actively exporting or looking at foreign markets, really you're already competing internationally because they're here and they're other countries are promoting their products under a German flag in this New Orleans grocery and then a French flag somewhere else in the supermarket. So that's kind of similar to the programs that we offer to our US companies doing similar things in foreign groceries. So, we're everybody is kind of competing internationally these days. So let us help you get a leg up.
Thank you, Danielle, and see you soon in Florida.
Yes, sounds good. All right. Take care, everybody. Bye bye.
Bye.